The rain had stopped during the apparitions, but the dark clouds continued to obscure the sun. Then they suddenly saw the sun as a soft spinning disc of silver, almost as if it was in front of the clouds. Only the little shepherds saw that Our Lady had projected the rays of light onto the sun. And at this point Lucia shouts,
"Look at the sun!"
Look, that lady has turned yellow!
I'm sorry, my God. I'm sorry. Hail Mary. I don't know how to pray. I'm sorry, God.
The sun then returned to its proper place in the sky. The miracle of the sun has ended. Everyone now finds that they are completely dry. The people are relieved and smile at each other in relief. Many give thanks to God and pray the rosary.
It was a very cold day, it was raining, and it was the most amazing event they have ever seen in Fatima. They saw many people. They never saw so many people at the same place in this little village. Many of them saw cars for the first time, as there was no car in Fatima yet. And she told me that people told her that they saw the sun dancing around with many beautiful colors, that they got scared. They thought it was the end of the world because it seemed that the sun was falling on them. And it was the most amazing and wonderful event that they have ever seen. Grandmother said to me that because it was raining all the day, they were completely wet when they arrived at the Covaderia, and right after the event they were fully dry. All the clothes were dry, the soil was dry where they knelt on. So it was a real miracle.
70,000 people had witnessed this unprecedented supernatural event. Heaven had made an intervention on earth, the like of which had not been seen since biblical times. As well as the majority believers, atheists and members of the secular press had also witnessed what is now known as the miracle of the sun, and many of them were to convert back to the church.
O milagre do sol.
The miracle of the sun on October 13th is perhaps the best known and most talked about event in Fatima. And one of the reasons why it is the most known and talked about event has to do precisely with its absolutely extraordinary character. On the one hand, it was something that had been promised, that had been announced beforehand. It was Lucia who, during one of the apparitions, asked Our Lady for a sign, any sign that would help to show that they were not lying, that they were telling the truth, that she did in fact appear to them. And it is interesting that Our Lady promised that yes, she would provide a sign, that in October she would do something that would help people see it was true she had been appearing to them. And it is this fact, this prior notice, that made so many people come to the COVID area on that day, October 13th, 1917. It is true that on the other 13th days of preceding months, there were already many who would gather at this place because of the spreading fame of the apparitions. But on this October 13th, it was an immense multitude that was present here where we are at the site of this shrine, spread in all directions.
There are many written eyewitness reports. Journalists present also covered the event. It even made the front page of the government-controlled newspaper, O Seculo. A journalist from O Seculo wrote, "Before the astonished eyes of the crowd, whose aspect was biblical, as they stood bareheaded, eagerly searching the sky, the sun trembled and made sudden incredible movements outside of all cosmic laws. The sun danced, according to the typical expression of the people."
The miracle that was manifest at Fatima in October 1917 is something which was observable even by unbelievers, those in fact who had come only to spread doubt and skepticism, if not outright rejection of the supernatural events at Fatima. And I think this is a message, a sign which extends to all of humanity. And I think going back to the words of the great St. John Paul II, it does remind us of the lasting significance of the message of Fatima. Pope John Paul said that the message of Fatima is now more urgent than it was in 1917. And I think the miracle that was foretold and manifest even to those who were unbelievers at Fatima is an indication to us of the continuing urgency of Our Lady's message.
Some people suggested that it was an eclipse, but no eclipse was due anywhere on Earth that day. And the sun does not dance during an eclipse. Some suggested it was mass hysteria. However, people who were not present at the cova and many miles away also saw it. The Portuguese poet Alfonso Lopes Vieira, who lived over 30 miles away from Fatima, said, "On that day, the 13th of October 1917, without remembering the predictions of the children, I was enchanted by a remarkable spectacle in the sky of a kind I had never seen before." There is even a story of sailors on a British warship off the coast of Portugal seeing something happening in the direction of Fatima.
The miracle of the sun wasn't just seen by the people at the Covadonga, but it was also seen by on a much wider level, a much wider area, sort of scores of miles away, really. So, for instance, quite a famous Portuguese poet was about 20 or 30 miles away, and he saw the miracle, not expecting it, and he just remarked on how amazed he was that, he again, no possibility of hallucination there or auto-suggestion or anything. He just looked out the window, and there was the miracle taking place in the distance. And also there's quite a famous account by a young boy who became a priest in a village about 12 miles away from Fatima, and they were all in school, in the classroom, and there was a commotion out in the street, so they all rushed out and could see the miracle from a distance. And then also I gave a talk, and this was in a college, and the lecturer there, her grandfather or great-grandfather had been on a ship, it was World War I, obviously a British ship, off the coast of Portugal on the day of the miracle, and the people on the ship saw the miracle from a distance. So this was seen even by people who were, it's 50 miles from Fatima to the coast, so it could be 60, 70 miles away.